Okay, so the math dealer here, and this is the last of the 5 videos. Okay, so now this video is trying to work with given a graph, how do you write the equation of a polynomial? Okay, so a few things I want you to take note, maybe take a stroll back memory lane when we first started the polynomial units. Okay, every polynomial can be written in this fashion, all right, where it has a leading coefficient. I know you've heard me say that many a times, and then it ends with a constant. Okay, so every polynomial can be written like that. Polynomials can also be written in this form. If R1, R2, and R sub n are your factors, are your roots, okay, are your roots. Now, you have learned throughout this course that when you have an x-intercept, you actually do have a root, okay? They're real roots, as a matter of fact, okay? So, those 3 roots is what I'm going to need to know to find the equation of this graph. Like, how is this equation happening? Okay, so here we go. First thing is, of course, list your roots. And you've seen me do this in class, or actually in those other videos a few times, right? I hope you've seen that. Oh, that's a 2, not a 1. Ooh, need my glasses on. And this is a 3. So this becomes x plus 1. This one becomes x minus 2. And this one here becomes x minus 3. Okay, so if you notice, I'm kind of putting it into that form. Not kind of, I did. Okay, the only thing missing is the leading coefficient. So I don't know what my leading coefficient is. So I'm going to call it a. So right now I have a polynomial, p of x is equal to a times those 3 factors. And you can write them out like this, and eventually we're going to multiply them out anyway. So but you're welcome to leave it like that first. Now, how do we find A? Not at the beginning of an alphabet, although it is there. All right, but what I'm going to use to find A is this y-intercept way up here. The y-intercept there is the 0.09. Now, I have stressed many times in class, when you are given an ordered pair, you are given a very special gift. You're given an x value and a y value. Okay, so that means when x is 0, your y value is 9. So how does that work? Well, remember, p of x is like saying 9. So when x is 0, your y is 9. Well, put 0 in everywhere you see that x. And now check out what you got. 9 is equal to a. And then when you multiply all those together, you get 6. So that means that 9 is equal to 6a, which lo and behold, a is going to be 9 over 6, which of course is 3 over 2. Well, that's not so bad, right? We can handle that. And then when you just bring it all together, take your 3 over 2, plug it in for your a, and then multiply those guys all out. Okay, so what is that going to look like in our world? Let me show you. So p of x equals, like we just said, 3 over 2, x plus 1, x minus 2, and x minus 3. Now, if I want to write this in standard form, of course, I need to do some multiplication. So the 3 over 2 is just going to chill. We'll get to him in a minute. But over here, I'm going to FOIL. I always say FOIL, but you hopefully know what that means. First, outer, inner, last, okay? Basically, we are distributing. So I get x squared, I get minus 3x minus 2x, which is a minus 5x, plus 6. Now, I've had students ask me, where did the negative 5 come from? Please, 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 please note, I am multiplying x times negative 3 and then negative 2 times x. That's where the negative 5x comes from. Please make sure you know that. You cannot get out of Algebra 2 without knowing that. Actually, you shouldn't have been able to get out of Algebra 1. That's another story. All right, so here we go. X times x squared is x cubed. X times a negative 5x is a negative 5x squared. X times 6 is 6x. Now bring in the next guy, right? Bring in the 1. Remember, distributing property. Everybody's getting hit with the old distributive action. So I get 1x squared, I get minus 5x. And I know what some of you teachers are looking at this video going, oh, I cannot believe she's writing it in vertical form. Well, you know what? You're going to have to get over your bad self because we're just trying to save some space. I know, craziness. Okay, now I can distribute my 3/2 through, and lo and behold, I have my equation. Your final answer, alert the media. 3/2 x cubed minus, now 3/2 times a negative 4x squared, all right, is going to get me a negative 6x squared, hopefully. And then I take 3/2 times 1x, gives me a 3/2 x. And then, of course, 3/2 times 6 is 9, because I know you know that. 3/2 times 6. Goodbye, goodbye. Hello. Good times, good times. That is a polynomial, all right? That would give me that graph, okay? All right, the beautiful thing about this, guys, is if you missed something in here, pause the video, go back, because you know what? We're moving on. Oh, look at this one. This problem is a little bit different because it wasn't given the y-intercept. I was actually given a point on the curve. But you know what? I'm not scared. No siree. Okay? So let's figure this one out. So just like we said, x equals negative 1/3 is a root, right? X equals 1/4 is a root, and it looks like x equals 1 is a root. Okay? And that's all from the x-intercepts. So you found those based on the x-intercepts, which means if x minus 1/3 was a root, then that factor would have been 3x plus 1. Now, some of you might be still a little fuzzy on that. So kind of go over here and just think about what we're doing. We're multiplying both sides by 3. And now we're going to add 1 over. So that's going to give me 3x plus 1 equals 0, right? Because that's what this technically would end up doing if we were going to work backwards. Okay, so I hope that makes a little bit of sense. Alrighty. Now, this guy here, yep, you guessed it, same pattern, 4x minus 1 this time, because again, I would have, here, I'll just come over here again. I mean, why not? It's a video, right? It's not like you can't pause it or speed it up. Cheesy peasies. What am I trying to save time for? Multiply by 4, subtract 1, and there you go. So that's how we get it. Okay, I really hope that's making some bit of sense, maybe. All right, and then of course your last one, everybody seems to get the one that's an integer. They don't seem to have a problem with that. Okay, so again, put the a here and p of x. Why am I putting an a? Because I have a leading coefficient. Okay, I have a leading coefficient whose roots are negative 1/3, 1/4, and 1, passes through this point of 2 comma 49. Okay, well, I have a polynomial with some leading coefficient. All right, whew, here we go. When p of x, which is y, is 49, okay, my x is 2. So I'm just going to put a 2 everywhere I see an x. The reason why I'm doing this is because I'm trying to find the leading coefficient, all right? Like if I just left it without the a, I won't know if it actually passes through that point, okay? So by finding the a, I will find the true curve that's going to pass through the point 249 and pick up all these x-intercepts. So here we go. 49 is equal to a. I think that's 7. What's that? 7 again? I know, crazy fun, right? So that means I get 49 is equal to 49a, and lo and behold, a is equal to 1. Well, that's not so bad, is it? So that means that my polynomial, here, let me slide this up. My polynomial is going to be p of x equals 1, right? Do I really need to put the 1? You could if you want. 3x plus 1. And then you're just going to multiply all that out. Now, remember what I said earlier. I always like to multiply the back two first if they're binomials. You don't have to. It's just my pattern. I would take first, then the outer, and then the inner. So that gives me the negative 5x. It's not always negative 5x. It just so happens both these examples had that. Please remember, it's the first you multiply together. Then you multiply the outer. Then you multiply the inner. Then you multiply the last. Okay. Now over here, I got to take 3x, distribute it through, and I get 12x cubed minus, what's that, 15x squared plus 3x. Now do this one down here. Send it on in. I get plus 4x squared minus 5x plus 1. And then, of course, your grand finale, your final answer, alert, the media is going to be 12x cubed. I have a negative 15x squared and a positive 4, so it's a negative 11x squared, I hope. 3x minus 5x, you see in pictures, it's 2x plus 1. And that is your polynomial function, whose roots are whatever we just said they were up here. Our roots are negative 1/3, 1/4, and 1. Okay, so I really, really hope this was a helpful 5 videos. I hope you didn't take up too much of your time. I really, truly believe if you watch all 5 of these videos and kind of understand what's going on, you're going to do just fabulous on that unit test. All right, this is the Math Dealer. Thanks for watching.